Francis Atwoli yesterday hosted the Jubilee Party leader, Raila Odinga, the Cabinet Secretary for Devolution, Eugene Wamalwa, and the Jubilee Vice Chairman, David Murathe, at his home in Kajiado. And that meeting caused huge panic amongst the allies of the Deputy President, William Samoei Ruto. And just like I've been saying on this platform, in politics, nothing happens out of mere coincidence. Everything in politics is normally planned and executed to achieve certain political objectives. So today I want us to look at this particular meeting at Ndugu Francis Atwoli. What were the objectives? But before we do that, if you're bumping on this video for the first time, I want you to just take a second or two and hit the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this one, you get notified. Now back to the main issue. Yesterday, the convoy of Raila Odinga, Eugene Wamalwa, and David Murathe were cleared at Isinya. Remember, President Uhuru Kenyatta had actually banned movements of any kind from Nairobi. But the police at Isinya cleared Raila Odinga, David Murathe, and Eugene Wamalwa to Kajiado. And that in itself caused uproar amongst Kenyans, because Kenyans were asking themselves, why would these individuals be allowed to move as if they were offering essential services? But indeed, these are VIPs and they were cleared. So what was the objective of this particular meeting? For us to understand the objectives of this particular meeting, first of all, let us go into the details briefly of the people who attended this meeting. Number one is Raila Odinga. We know Raila Odinga is a co-principal in NASA. He's actually the NASA leader, the Jubilee Party leader, and currently a co-principal in Handshake. And we also know that the Deputy President views Raila Odinga as one of his key opponents in 2022. So Raila Odinga was present at that meeting. The other person who was present at that meeting was David Murathe. The presence of David Murathe in this meeting, I believe, is the main reason why the allies of the Deputy President were worried. David Murathe is the vice chair of Jubilee Party. And of late, there has been attempt to wrestle the control of Jubilee Party from the allies of the Deputy President. So the mere fact that Murathe was in this particular meeting is the main reason why the allies of the DP were worried. Because of course, Raila has always been to the home of Atwoli severally. The third person who was there was Eugene Wamalwa. What was the presence of Eugene Wamalwa meant to do? Basically, in my view, I think Eugene Wamalwa is also being projected as a possible person who will be taking charge of Western Kenya together with Wycliffe Oparanya. So Eugene Wamalwa entry into this circle is something that we really need to go into the details. The fourth individual who was at this meeting was James Orengo. Who is James Orengo? We know James Orengo is the legal advisor to Raila Odinga. So probably the role of James Orengo in this meeting was to advise in case there was any legal implication on any political discussion they were discussing at this meeting. And lastly, the last person who was at this meeting was Junet Mohammed. What was the role of Junet Mohammed in this meeting? When you see Junet Mohammed, you see Raila Odinga. When you see Raila Odinga, you see Junet Mohammed. Junet Mohammed was the only leader present when Raila Odinga had the handshake with President Uhuru Kenyatta at Harambee House. So Junet Mohammed ni mtoto wa baba. So personally, I believe that the presence of Junet Mohammed here was meant purely to show the link between Raila and all these discussions. The other interesting thing is the presence of Murathe. I am sure Uhuru would not have just made it here. But the presence of Murathe in this meeting is basically the presence of President Uhuru Kenyatta. And that's why the allies of the DP were really worried about this particular meeting. But what was the objectives? What were these guys discussing in this meeting? What were they discussing? At this particular point in time, when Kenya is dealing with a crisis as huge as COVID-19, these individuals still found time and went to Kajiado. And the host was Francis Atwoli. Francis Atwoli is known to be one of the guys blocking the deputy president from any attempt of ascending to the presidency. So what was the objective? What was the reason for this meeting? In my view, these guys met to discuss the following. Number one is Jubilee politics. And in that discussion about Jubilee politics, these guys were not discussing how Jubilee can be made to be a good party. They were basically discussing either how they can take control of Jubilee Party, how they can help Murathe group take control of Jubilee Party. We know Rafael Tuju wrote a letter the other time, and in that letter, they wanted to replace the allies of the deputy president from the list of Jubilee officials. The deputy president and his team have reacted by signing over, by almost 150 MPs signing protest letters. Also clearly a message to President Uhuru Kenyatta. So there's a big war in Jubilee Party. And that war is what is going to determine the future of Jubilee Party. The deputy president is likely to win that war. But even if he wins that war, it will be a lose-lose situation for him, because he shall have lost almost the other part of Jubilee Party. So that's number one. Jubilee politics was discussed here. There's nothing which could have been discussed in this meeting if not the current happenings in Jubilee Party. Probably Raila Odinga was offering his advice on how to destroy Jubilee Party. That's number one. The second thing, which I think was discussed on this, and David Murathe alluded to it, is the formation of a new alliance. I am sure David Murathe and the team have realized that probably it will be very difficult to take control of Jubilee Party. So the alternative is, if they can't take control of Jubilee Party, then they can have another coalition, a bigger coalition, which will bring Uhuru Kenyatta and his allies together with Raila Odinga. And that's why Murathe even mentioned Kalonzo Musyoka. He even mentioned Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, and other leaders. So I think the idea behind this particular meeting is that they are exploring the possibility of forming a major political formation involving Jubilee wing of Uhuru, ODM, Kalonzo, Musalia, and probably other like-minded political parties. So I don't want to rule out the possibility that the formation of alliance was discussed. Number three, which I think something tells me was even the main aim of this meeting, is the Building Bridges initiative. Remember, the BBI had already taken shape and was headed, it was like a train which had left the station. So it had moved from Kisii, to Kakamega. From Kakamega, it went to Mombasa. From Mombasa, Kitui. From Kitui, it went to Narok. From Narok, it went to Garissa. From Garissa, it went to Meru. Then from Meru, it was supposed to go to Nakuru. Then the mega one in Nairobi. But it developed mechanical problems before reaching Nakuru, courtesy of the COVID-19. So I'm sure these guys discussed how BBI can progress immediately after the COVID-19, after this crisis which Kenya is currently facing. Something tells me that BBI was the main reason why these guys met. Because as a matter of fact, BBI is where the interest of President Uhuru Kenyatta is. While in Nakuru, the president told the Kikuyus that their position is actually catered for in the BBI. So Uhuru and Raila will not allow BBI to die because of coronavirus. So I think these guys met to strategize on how to move BBI, especially after this particular crisis. Because the fact of the matter is, BBI had a time frame. So probably Orengo, as a lawyer, was explaining to them how they can overcome those particular time frames. The fourth thing, which I'm sure was also discussed here, was the formation of a coalition government. People have been saying that Raila Odinga is in government, which is not the case. Raila Odinga is just an opposition leader. The current government is consisting of Jubilee Party purely. But Raila Odinga just entered into a handshake with Uhuru Kenyatta. So something tells me that these guys explored the possibility of a coalition government. Because even David Murathe himself alluded to the fact that probably they are looking at forming another coalition government involving other political parties. I don't know how accurate that is, but the fact of the matter is probably that was also discussed so that Raila Odinga can now feel part of the government, can now access government machinery, government intelligence, and things like those. Number 5, I think 2002 general elections was also discussed in this meeting. There is no meeting involving Raila Odinga, Atwoli, Murathe, Orengo, Junet, and Wamalwa. And 2022 politics is not discussed. These guys are not political. These guys are not business partners. There's no business there's no business Raila is doing with Atwoli. There is no business Raila is doing with Murathe. So probably these guys just discussed 2022 politics. The possibility, how are they going to ensure that in 2022 they retain power? How are they going to secure the interest of President Uhuru Kenyatta in that particular next government? And what will they do in case they'll be defeated in 2022? And how can they avoid such kind of a defeat? So I'm sure, and I can bet, that these guys discussed 2022 politics. And that discussion centered on how to stop the Deputy President, William Samoei Ruto, from ascending to the presidency. And lastly, probably these guys just went to Kajiado to share a drink. Probably they just went to Kajiado to share drinks. I don't know whether any one of you here have been to that Atwoli's home. Personally, I've been there, that place twice. That's the best place you can have free mind. I wish you could invite me again. But if you go to Atwoli's home, it's one of the best places you can ever relax. Quiet, deep there. Atwoli has a very nice house there. Then he has a place here for the guest, fully stocked with the drinks. And of course, you know, all these guys, apart from Junet Mohammed, all of them drinks. And that's probably the presence of Junet is why I'm ruling out that these guys went there just to drink. Junet is a personal friend. I've never seen him drink. He doesn't actually drink. I've been with him since. Junet cannot even sit with you guys if you're having a drink. So probably in this meeting, it was not about sharing drinks. But of course, we know Raila drinks. We've seen pictures of David Murathe and Atwoli drinking expensive beers at the same spot in Atwoli's home. So you can't say that David Murathe was coming to Atwoli's home for the first time. I know Raila Odinga because Atwoli once told me that in that compound, that house, his main house, there are guest rooms. So those guest rooms, there's a specific one for Raila and a specific one for Uhuru Kenyatta. No any other person can sleep there. That's what Atwoli told us. Yeah. But the fact is, these guys could have just decided, we've been bored a bit, we've had this menace here, why don't we just go to Kajiado? No, ukienda kwa ile nyumba nini ya Atwoli kuna mbuzi mingi. So why don't we just go to Atwoli pale, atuchinjie mbuzi, then we have our drinks there, enjoy ourselves, then come back in the evening. Or come back the next day. Probably they just went there, had their drinks. I don't know what you think. Probably there's some other things, but the mere fact that these guys were cleared, the fact that these guys went to Atwoli's home, there was something they wanted to achieve. And the 5 reasons I've given are probably what they discussed there. And if you listen, David Murathe has actually been interviewed. So if you listen to his interview, you will understand the reasons why they went there. I don't know what you think. And if you are bumping on this video for the first time, I want to just take a second or two and hit the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this one, you get notified. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. And by the way, I'm still getting requests to analyze that speech, the State of the Nation address by the Deputy President. I don't know why I've refused to analyze it. I'd actually prepared notes. And by the way, on Jubilee War, I'm still on it. Already, over 150 members of parliament have signed a petition to the registrar. So what message was the Deputy President trying to send to President Uhuru Kenyatta as far as Jubilee Party is concerned? So that's the next video I'm coming to analyze. I just want to take my time, study Jubilee structure, the membership, who has the highest number, when a NEC is called, who will have the say, if they decide to call for the delegates conference, who is going to have the say, if elections were to be held, who is going to have the say, and why would the DP allow all those number of MPs to sign that petition? Is it telling the president that, man, I'm ready for you because I know you don't have numbers, I have the numbers. So tukutane baadaye. I'm going to for lunch. My friend George, Public Service Kisumu, has prepared for me kuku there. But we are going to keep social distance. So he's invited me for kuku there with my wife. So my boy is here. Kuja salimia watu leo. My boy is just relaxing next to me here. But here aende kukula. Yeah, home relax. So mwambie bye.
Bye.
Lakini wewe ende kukula na sisi.